I guess the main reason why is just because, to me personally, I've always thought where there's a lot of deaths, which I assume is going to be anywhere around America. Well, not necessarily just America, that was just a generalization, but anywhere around the world, just due to the fact for as long as Earth has existed, plenty of people as well as plenty of creatures has died. But from my understanding, Suicide Forest is just one of those hot spots that have higher death rates compared to just anywhere else. It's basically like being in Detroit or Chicago or Milwaukee or just, I don't know, anywhere that there's just a bunch of aggression. And from my understanding, I know I've seen a movie about the Suicide Forest, and from my understanding, if you go out on walks in the middle of the night in the Suicide Forest, or actually in any forest, to be honest, you didn't hear shit, and you definitely didn't hear your voice. And if you went with anybody, why'd you go with somebody? Because if you're not with them, you're not with them. You should really worry about yourself. But that's just things I've heard about cryptic entities that happen in the middle of the night, which is why we all should stay inside. Which is maybe why we have homes, to be honest, aside from like it gets us away from the weather, but also gets us away from some other shit that we don't want to talk about. Alright, I'm gonna be honest, I did some more research on the Suicide Forest because I realized I don't know shit about it. But it's pretty in a dark, brooding type of way. And that's one of the reasons I want to go there. On top of the history, like I question what's the energy behind it because while I was reading up on it, they just said that people typically go there to commit suicide, and they stopped really reporting on how many people do it just to get away from the synonymous with the suicide aspect, because apparently that's a negative kind of. And I get it. They don't want the force to be known for suicides, even though there's been plenty of suicides done in it. And from what I read, it has been going on for a long time, early 1900s, if not even before that. So they don't really know why, but they do have assumptions it's because of what they used to do in the past. I am going to murder this, but whatever this word is, that could be the reasoning why Ubetsu, which is from my understanding is how they used to be like, well, grandpa, grandma, mom, dad, we don't want to take care of you anymore, so we're gonna leave you here in the forest, and I'm gonna go back home. Bye. Which I can then understand why. I'm assuming after they died and due to the foresty weather as well as I don't know maybe the creatures, their old age if not their ailments, I could see why they would turn into poltergeists and maybe possess other people to kill themselves, because it doesn't really explain why people want to go there and commit suicide, because of all the places you go commit suicide, why there? So I question if there's like a calling. And I know Wikipedia is not a good source of information. There's a lot of places that aren't good sources of information, but I don't really know what a good source is. Like I know apparently .gov is supposed to be a good source because it has government affiliation, but America has government affiliation, and that's not in good standing. Like the debt is insane. Back about the fucking Suicide Forest though. That's what you asked about. Like honestly, the main reason I want to go there is because it's beautiful. It looks like it fits my type of aesthetic where it's just dark, dreary, and maybe not really highly traveled. Seems like that name is of eye catcher, and it did say that in 2011 there was about like 56 deaths, but that's like about 13 years from now. Well, 13 years ago. So it's just like maybe people have kind of been less suicidal about it, or maybe they just stopped reporting it because the more you hear about them, the more reports you see about it, maybe the more people are gonna want to be compelled. Cause like, well, it's a common place to die. Right? And I don't know, with a fucking name like that, Suicide Forest, you tell me you don't want to check it out? Like, I kind of want to check out the rainforest, but I know what's in that bit. And I am terrified of living creatures. I'm less terrified of the things I don't know about the Suicide Forest, even though there are some ominous photos. I'm just like, hmm. I'm gonna need to bring me some cockies with me as well as some blackies, because I can't be the only one. Because as soon as I die, now I know the Caucasian people should start running. But like, if I'm like one of three black guys, hopefully the ghost likes me. I don't know. Yet again, just to me, it looks interesting. I've always like the things that most people didn't like Criminal Minds. I guess a lot of people did like that, Law and Order, just like the eerie shit. That's just like, why are you watching this? Because I had a horrible childhood, and this makes my brain feel good. And leave me alone. If I put forth time and energy, I'd probably be a scientist. I'm just too lazy. Actually, not really too lazy. I just have shitty directioning. Back to the point. So yeah, I don't know. To me, it just seems like it would be a very submersive experience, at least energetically. I feel like I would get maybe some answers that I wasn't questioning or just feel some spirits. Just and I question just because they're also foreign speakers if I'd be able to understand any of them. I don't know. Actually probably want to go to a couple burial grounds, but I just figured the Suicide Forest is it was just my favorite one to say. Like, I don't really want to go to cemeteries. That's to me personally, it's kind of underwhelming. That's just my thought. But I'd actually want to go to a couple of haunted asylums. I just don't know any of them quite yet. And I'm probably not going to tell anybody because it's better to just show them instead of tell. As well as maybe a couple Indian burial grounds. I just don't know any names of them quite yet either. But when those informations come through, I will at least make an attempt to visit if that's allowed. And if not, well, darkness covers a lot of things that light shows.